Welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast, where we explore therapy, Kundalini yoga, and all things holistic wellness. I'm Hannah Zachney, LMFT, International Retreat Leader, and Curious Human. Whether you're tuning into us via social media or any of the major podcast platforms, we're so grateful to have you here. Here's to opening our hearts and exploring life together. Welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. I am really happy today to have Lydia Salmaniego. She is an amazing sound healer, human, writer, friend, mom, adventurer, traveler, many things I could add to the list. I know Lydia through many ways. Our kids kind of grew up together. She has been a Spanish immersion teacher in our community, and more recently moved up to Tahoe to be in the mountains, do some traveling from there, and offer sound healing on the river. So our membership, the Heart Wide Open Women's membership, has had the pleasure of going up in the summer and being on the river for a really fantastic experience where we lay by the river and receive her beautiful sound healing. I've also received sound healing from her in local studios. I know we will be partnering to do some of that. And then Lydia will be joining me in Costa Rica this spring to bring her sound healing with us to the retreat to share with the women that are going to be there. So all of those things are incredible. So amazing. I'm so looking forward to every single thing.
I very appreciate the opportunity.
Yes.
Very much.
So I'm excited to talk about sound healing because we here at Heart Wide Open Wellness are into all things holistic health, anything that used to be a little woo-woo that is starting to be more science-based and commonplace, and people are accepting. And we know how beneficial being in the frequency, being in the vibration can create cellular structurally healing, right? In all of these ways. So before we get into all of that, could you just share what sound healing is and how you found it?
Well, what sound healing is was we play crystal bowls primarily. A lot of other sound healers play other things as well. And the bowls are set to different frequencies. The frequency of the earth, the angelic realm, and the 444, which is more of a man-made frequency. But you can get your bowls to be at whichever one you want. Mine are at the earth, 428. And so 432, sorry.
And all of your bowls are
All of
432. Okay.
Yes, all of them. What they do is they correlate with our chakras, and they the sound wave goes through each one. And what we do as human beings, as we are emotional beings, even though sometimes we don't want to be, but we are, and we store everything that we experience in our bodies.
Yeah.
And so our chakras are hooked up to everything in our body, like our organs and stuff, and there's 7 throughout. And so they're more than that, obviously more, but the main ones. And then so every part of our body is hooked to that. So when we go through things and we store emotion, if we don't deal with it, we don't clean it, it turns into more of a physical ailment.
So the sound can be like a cleansing of the chakras.
Exactly. And so what it does is penetrate through. And so when I play them, or any sound healer does, they sometimes play multiple so that you can combine the frequencies. And that's why sometimes you experience so many different things. And so what brought me to sound healing is I'm a yoga instructor as well. And then part of my trainings that I was to be part of sound baths. And I loved them. I loved how they made me feel. I loved how I just felt like a massage, but nobody touched me.
Yeah.
And then I would go to places, and then sometimes I would sleep, and then I would come back, and I don't know, I felt so relieved. And then I just loved it. And then I met this one sound healing woman who trains people that she sang with it as well. And then I used to sing when I was younger, and then I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to add that element of the voice that goes, so another sound frequency with the combination. So then I got trained by her, and I've been doing it ever since.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So the frequency, we talk about it a lot with emotions and stuck energy, and absolutely, just how you explained, like PTSD or trauma. I don't really love the word trauma just because I think it's, if you've survived childhood, I say often you probably have trauma, right? Because not necessarily just by being human, we have stuck energy, right? If you call it that. So when we relieve some of that, it moves through, and the sound healing is very effective at doing that. Additionally, something that's really interesting is how to just kind of relate what frequency is in relation to emotions. And I'm curious about what you may add to this. Is that like David Hawkins has done a lot of work around this, where he has, and I forget the exact numbers, but there's numbers that correlate to an actual emotion. So there, for example, like lower vibration emotions are, like sorrow and desperation and grief and depression and these kinds of things. And then there's more neutral emotions, right? And then there's high vibrancy emotions, which are the greatest joy, love, gratitude, right? And so there's correlating frequencies that when you're in that physical ability to be in that frequency, to be surrounded, to have your cells vibrate at that frequency, you actually are able to step towards those emotions with greater ease. And if you can get your body into that space, then you can actually start to live in those frequencies, or have tools to take you back when you fall down. So that's a little bit of my understanding. And is that accurate from your perspective?
I would say it is, and that's why people repeatedly go and attend sound baths, because they do feel elevated in a lot of different ways. Yes, from the bath, and because it actually does heal when you're going through it. So I would say that's pretty accurate, and a lot more too, because a lot happens, when you're with the energy. Everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
And then to be able to move it with sound which is another frequency and different energy, but it's, you can kind of program it by how the sound bath is played.
Right.
And so when I give a sound bath, I use myself as an instrument. Like want to clear. It's not just going and playing for me. It takes a lot, because it's clear the space for the people that are there, and for me to be clear, so that whatever happens is for the people there. And so that it's not quite the same every time I play. It has a lot to do with the people who are there and what they intend. And they don't have to tell me what they intend or what they want, or maybe they don't even know what they want. But the crystal is alive. The crystal, quartz crystal, is a pure entity. It's neutral, and so it hears. Maybe this sounds too crazy, but that's what I know. That's what I believe. Everything has a
Not too crazy here.
yeah. So everything has a frequency which is alive. And so it's there to serve, and it could store a lot. And so it's really magical to be able to work with it. That I get to play with these things, and I don't really understand everything that's happening. I mean, honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody does yet. We don't understand really what sound and the power of it. I think we're just tapping into it. What the ancients knew way, way before. And now we're learning it again.
Could you add to that? Because that is true. We were actually talking before you arrived today about how, like in Egypt, some of the pyramids possibly are designed in a way that they have a resonance and a frequency in them when you go that's actually creating healing, for example. And we know there's healing caverns. We know there's places that have a higher vortex, which is often associated with that frequency. What else do you mean when you go there?
Well, I just ask me a specific more question.
Well, what do you think the ancients knew that we're tapping into? Because I kind of have a theory that we are more remembering, right? We're not relearning this. We're remembering something that we've been disconnected from, right? So that's where I think that when you step in as a provider of the sound and as a steward of the sound, that there's something intuitive in you that knows this, that is remembering along the way with the people that you're serving. So you're tapping into that ancient energy. But like, what can you just speak to that? What do you know about that ancient energy, I guess is the question. And you don't have to know anything. I mean, you just said, maybe I don't know, and maybe that is the answer. And just being open to it is exactly the way that you connect.
Well, I think from what I don't know, but I do know that it is something that has been around forever, and we are relearning something that we had forgotten. And how come we forgot, and why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is something. I mean, I have a bunch of theories too. I mean, this is probably too short of a podcast to even go there, but just a lot of the things, like even in Mexico with the Mayan pyramids, a lot of it was sound as well. And I do believe they're connected to Egypt, and I do believe they're connected to other parts of the earth. And so everything, but that's an ancient history that has been lost to us.
Right.
We are now, we don't even really know. And unless you go to the more obscure histories that are not mainstreamed, and that, people think, okay, that's crazy or whatever. But, there's a part of us that it's intuitive.
Yeah.
And when the more we clear and the more we do these things to heal ourselves and from the emotion, we can start to listen to more to our intuition that is our teacher, because you don't need people from the outside to tell you what's up.
Amen.
What you need is you to go in. And it's hard to go in when all this conditioning from the outside is telling you, do it this way. And if you don't do it that way, that means you suck. And if this happened, that means you really screwed up. All these conditionings that tell us but it's nothing. It's all just like mumbo jumbo out here. When you have to quiet yourself and go within, and it's painful because you have to deal with you. And the most difficult thing is to deal with you and to face yourself and to see yourself in the mirror, the good, the bad, and sometimes the really ugly. So that intuition that we can get to, I mean, it just tells you, this is not new. This has been around forever. And we're just trying to get back there, get back to a time where there was a use of the elements that we used to tap into, to heal, to create, to create, there's theories that the pyramids were created with sound, by, manipulating it. So, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, I read a bunch of weird stuff and everything, and, take it with a grain of salt and stuff, and then just live your life. And then your intuition just helps you along.
Well, and exactly. And I don't think it's that weird. I think there was a time when we said, a lot of these woo-y things were weird, but science is starting to back them up, right? So we're using sound in cancer treatments. We're using sound as a medicinal modality at different places, and people are actually stepping towards this. So it's not as obscure as in we're testing the frequencies and we're showing that what we know intuitively is actually the case. So it's a beautiful time to be, I think, alive with all of these things coming and people waking up to all of these different modalities. And, you and I have been in the yoga world for a long time, but I would definitely say in the last 5-8 years, people are way more open to just sound and yoga and different types of yoga and different types of holistic healings, whatever it might be, right? Acupuncture or, anything. So and there's that. And then when you say, I don't know, I experienced sound healing and it just felt right to me and I needed to share it. I mean, one, I think that's when we step towards our dharma, our purpose, right? We find something that works for us and then we want to share it. That's why I do everything I do. And I think that's why most everybody that I bring on this podcast and associate with in many ways at this level is, that's being a true healer and having a true desire to pass on that healing, right? When I've taken your sound baths, you also share, and you kind of hinted toward this, but I'd love for you just to expand on what you mean when you say this. You say things like, I do believe that you show up ready to meet people where they are, right? It's not that you're coming in with a preconceived, I'm going to play this and then play that and then do this. It's more, well, I'm going to feel into how to serve who's here. And then you verbalize, there might be frequencies that resonate with you that are comfortable. There might be resonating that is uncomfortable. And then you give us permission that this too shall pass. So we also know that even if it's uncomfortable, which I do think is less common, although not uncommon, so we've had experiences where people are like, I didn't really like that frequency, and then it changed and it was okay again. Or, and then for me, I'm usually like, oh my gosh, I just never stop, so especially when you're singing, I love it. But, then, yeah, I guess just speaking more to just being a steward of it. And then like, what would you add to somebody just being with the variations of how sound lands for them in a perceived positive or negative way?
Well, a lot of it depends too. I mean, we show up differently on every day, right?
That's true.
Everything is different. So one day the sound bath could be great. One day it could be like, not so good. And depends on where you're at and what you need. And so sometimes when that frequency is jarring, that's because there's something there that needs to move, and that frequency is working itself in there to move it, open it, soften it, so that maybe later, as time goes on throughout after the sound bath, it could let itself go, you know. And so, and sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes people go to the ethers and have these experiences. They have these people visit and all this kind of stuff. And, it just really depends where everybody's at. And so to say, if you have a bad experience and this person has a great experience, you can have it all. And every time it will be different. So, yeah. And so when I play, I let them know that, and everybody, that be open to anything, and that it's all good no matter what happens. Because based on where you're at right at the moment, based on what needs to happen first, what needs to be cleared, that's what happens. So that you could just relax.
How do you read what's kind of going on to be guided into what to do next? Or how do you?
I, really try not to read.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I just here's the bowls in front of me, and I just play. Try to just feel the moment right there, and with the bowls, it's really.
You stay with the bowls and let everybody have their
with the bowls,
experience.
yeah.
But you're aware that the experience is different. So yes.
And so I just, because it's not my business, I am just like a conduit, like this little thing that through which it comes. And so that's not my business. My business is to do what moves me at the moment right now, given that I have asked that I be that conduit to help the people that are here and give them what they need. And so I have fun with that, and I enjoy that. That's a really beautiful feeling. It's to give in that way,
Yeah,
because it also gives to me, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. Because sometimes it's just like, whoa, what just happened, and that's why after a sound bath, I always ask if you wanted to share what was it like, because that helps me, and like, whoa, shoot. But sometimes it doesn't help me, because it's like, it's not mine. I'm not the one visiting, I'm just opening something, and I'm like so honored that, that I could be that, to open, and that things could happen to people, because I get to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and I also do in one-on-ones, and that is a little bit more intense, because all that energy goes to that one person.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes, very little happens, and sometimes major things happen.
Yeah.
As far as major things, like they they see things, they visit, like stories are told to them, or they feel things, they release things, and then they're just relaxed. Sometimes they cry and they don't know why. Sometimes they do know why. On the individual level, and then sometimes it doesn't matter. The group level is just as powerful. So just depends on the person, and where you're at, and the situation, and how open you are, how closed you are. Sometimes we're more closed than others,
Very much so. Yeah.
So,
And in that, it can be used every day, because every day it would be different for you. So it meets you where you are at a really beautiful level, which I think is one of the most beautiful therapeutic things you can do, is just meet somebody where they are. So the sound does that.
Yeah.
How do you access that, getting out of your own way to be a conduit? Like, that's kind of it's a different question than, how do you step into that? I'm just going to be a healer. I'm just going to be here to allow to move through.
I also do Reiki, so I do a lot of Reiki on me and in the area and the bowls, and I just ask, just to clear myself, and then I also to protect myself that stays out there, and it doesn't come into me, and not mine stuff goes in there as well, and then just ask to be that conduit, and if the gods or the whatever would be so kind as to use me if they wanted to. So it's a lot of prayer beforehand.
So like intention setting, is it prayer? Is it, it's more about,
it's prayer, it's meditative, it's clearing my own energy, and
and taking a lot of, it sounds like you care to that. I mean, you've mentioned it a couple of times. So like you prepare before you do this. Like that's something that you do to cleanse, to come in with that purity.
Try. Yeah.
Yes.
I ain't pure.
No, absolutely not. That's why I'm saying, how do you get to that space? Because you're bringing in all your humanness to your day, right? Whatever's happened to you too. So, and then there's a prayer that we use in Kundalini yoga, actually, that I was taught in the training. And it says that I am not a man, I am not a woman, I am not a human, I am a teacher. And then you teach to kind of like get you out of the way of you, and then just to step into that conduit kind of space. And I know, and you can do this a million ways. And what you shared is a different version of what I just said. And then one of the other, like I've learned a couple, like I'm told that they're passed down Native American techniques using like stones that you can put around you, or imagining a bubble of protection. But I think this is a piece that is very interesting, because when you're working with this much energy, Reiki or sound, it is important to protect your own energy also. And to know that it's not my energy and it's okay to stay here, that I don't need to intermingle with what's happening over here. And actually, it's none of my business. I absolutely love how you said that, because it's very much like I do me, they do them, and I'm going to give them the power and the autonomy to do what they need to do. It's very serving of them, the way that you're presenting it.
Well, thank you, Wilda, because that's how I approach it.
Yeah,
I really do, and so energetically, I'm at the point that it's not necessarily easy,
right?
It's a lot of energy that to create that, and sometimes the bowls I feel like are my protecting.
I can see that.
They protect me.
Did you? I think maybe we talked about this when we talked on the phone, but did you see that in the fires, the unfortunate fires in LA, how some of the houses that burned, the crystal bowls were the only things that survived?
Yes.
They're amongst all this ash. And then there's these beautiful bowls.
Right. Yes.
They're so resilient. They're so strong. They're so,
Yeah. But then when they're ready to break, they break. It's interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah. So when they're ready I'm done.
Yeah. So if somebody was not familiar with sound healing, ideally they could come to one of your events on the river, because that is a really important thing to do. And I'd love to talk in a minute about just setting of where and how to do them. But how would somebody start to get familiarized with sound healing?
If through me or in general, but if this is me here,
absolutely through you, and then in general, because some people might not have access to you.
Well, I posted things on Instagram mainly and Facebook about my events, and usually it's in the summer because that's when you can access the river without snow on the ground. And then just recently, I once a month in South Lake Tahoe, that I give a sound bath at the climbing gym, the Blue Granite Climbing Gym. So.
Wonderful.
And so if somebody was trying to get familiar with it, attend a sound bath, and just some people are nervous and like, what the heck is this? And this hocus pocus. It feels what? They won't go. No, they want it. But if you have a little inkling that you want to go, try one of these events, look online or, look me up. But if not, around their area, wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And just attend. And if you do attend, be open. Just go open. Whatever happens, happens, and just relax.
So in our practice, a lot of our clinicians and myself are trained in EMDR and brain spotting, and we use a lot of somatic exercises, and we use a lot of bilateral music in our healing, because we've shown that using the bilateral in the right and left hemisphere is so useful. So I often will, just thinking for those people that maybe even it's not ready to go to an event, or not they want even another baby step, right? To even Googling playlists that are bilateral or frequency hertz that are above 444. Is that 4434? Is that the base number?
444 is man-made, actually.
Okay.
That's where everything is attuned in the Western, all the instruments, Western hemisphere and Western world. Yeah, but the natural frequency is 432.
432.
And 528.
Okay.
The angelic realm, but 444 is more what, like, all of the instruments, pianos, guitars, whatever, are tuned to. Which is weird.
Okay. So when you Google high frequency music, in fact, and I say this because actually last night, we're unfortunately having to face some end of life decisions for my dog, which is really heartbreaking right now. And I was up last night just kind of noodling over this and feeling through it. And I couldn't sleep. And so at one point, I actually got out of bed and put on my headphones, and I have some high frequency music that it's very high frequency. And I listened to that on my headphones and did some stretches, and I could literally feel my body, start to soften, starts to release. I started to have deeper breaths. I started to be able to be back in the present moment rather than in the kind of anticipatory anxiety about her not being here after we make this decision. And it just was such a reminder and kind of a nice thing to happen in a way before we meet today, just to be refreshed at how powerful sound could be. So I'm just thinking that people could also, access just the magic of sound, even through their own headphones, and then feel how wonderful that is, and then be able to come to an event too.
Yeah, there's one thing though, when you, like, with everything, with the after COVID, everything has been virtual, but if you can, nothing is more powerful than to be in the presence of humans, and
absolutely,
to be in the presence of actual sound happening, So if that would be my recommendation, because it's not the same, but it is still good.
Yeah, no, it's just giving another tool.
Right.
So to speak to that, like setting of anything we do is very important, right? I think that we're realizing that our aesthetics and who we surround ourselves with, the environment that we come into, all of these things matter very much. It's not like, oh, well, I only go there once a week. It doesn't matter if it makes me feel disorganized. It actually matters. Like every single thing you do matters, right? So to your point, that setting about a sound healing opportunity, it matters as well. And you have been very clear that the river for you feels like it's one of the ideal settings for you. Could you share why and how that's so special for you? I know I've been there, and I know it is, but could you share?
Yeah, the river is it's powerful. She's alive, and the negative ions that she gives off, if you are there, just standing there, takes away the negative energy that you might be feeling or anything like that. So, and then where I like to go is where the rivers converge. Because I took you there, or the other place by the river, but it was a bigger space. But there's a smaller space that I go when there's smaller crowds, where two rivers converge, and there's more power there. And they also say it's the same with the forest and the ocean. They have very similar energies that can take away the negativity that you might be feeling and the heaviness, and help with just by standing there. So to me, when I started playing the sound bowls, it's like, well, shoot, and I already knew that about the river, and it's like, well, I need to play right by her, and so I do, and I do it by myself too, by my river, just by down below my house, and just for me. And you would think it would get drowned out, but they start to harmonize, and the bowls get louder. It's weird, but in a very, really amazing way. And then just everything just starts resonating so powerfully. I don't know why the river does what it does, but to me, that's what I prefer to have sound baths. But I will go and travel, especially in the wintertime. You can't be on the river in the ice and snow, but I mean, I guess you could, but yeah. So that's for me why the setting of the river is amazing.
So I love the attention to the river. I can't agree more. I know we did have a large group. We came to see you, and That was really at an interesting time with the membership for me when we were just on this kind of increase of our membership growing into this stronger community. And I threw this out there thinking, for us, it was an hour drive, right? And I think we did it on like a Monday night. I don't know where we did it, something like that. And I was shocked. I really feel like that was such a gift to pivot like our membership into like this stronger community. So many people were very interested in that event, attended, even joined the membership after that. The interest in sound healing is really profound. And it really did cement something for my gals. And so one, thank you for that. And for accommodating. I know you found I don't think it was a new space, but it was a beautiful space and accommodated us to do that. We will absolutely be doing it again this summer.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, for sure. And we will be doing more things to include like the retreat. So I know after we did that, we kind of connected and you were interested in also, you must have felt that reciprocally because you also wanted to share more with these not this particular group, but also this particular group, but just with women in general. And so we will be in Costa Rica and we're going to be in a place where that's why we'll be there, is to do wellness activities and to give ourselves that space to kind of look and investigate at all those layers that you mentioned are so important. Yeah. And to be moving and to be breathing and to be near the jungle and the water and the ocean and with people that are open to doing this exact thing together and supporting each other. It's going to be so powerful.
Especially because we're going to be cleansing ourselves even more, so to allow us to go deeper in the sound bath.
Yeah.
As well as in the Kundalini classes, in the yoga classes. I mean, everything.
Yeah, it's going to be a yummy, yummy jam. For sure. When you think about that and when you thought about it and I would love to be a part of this and this sounds wonderful to me. What part of you lights up about that? And when you imagine what it might be, and it's probably, who knows that it'll be that, but what gets you excited about this?
A lot of things, actually. Not to whatever, but just to be able to work with you. I like your energy and I like what you do. And
thank you.
And to be a part of that with you is an honor. And so, and the jungle is amazing. I just came back from the jungle in Mexico and this is Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But so just nature, Mother Earth is amazing. So I've never been, but just the opportunity to be that and really, and the other thing is this the women and the ability to go deep, to heal, and all of us, and the opportunity to connect and on a deeper level with everyone, and so and that I get to be a part of that and help.
Love that. I know that's very sincere for you. And I'm really honored back. This retreat is going to be very unique in the sense that for me, I have people that are coming with their specialties like you. So we have the sound healing, we have a Reiki person, we have an artist, we have somebody else I'm forgetting right now that I will remember in a moment. Oh, we have somebody that's going to be coming to do a workshop on holistic health and nutrition. These really intricate women's issues. And what I really love about this for both of us and everybody that's going to be there too, is to be able to, and selfishly, definitely for me, is to be able to receive from those people too, right? To be able to do this retreat, to have the healing, but then to have a moment where you get to receive as well in all in one. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know all that. So yeah. It's even better.
Right? It is even better. And to be fair, it's going to be even better by the time we leave in a couple months or whatever. It's sneaking up on us for sure.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we have also decided to do a event together, a workshop I have at a local studio, Yoga Nyla, which is the studio that I currently teach at. And you have taught there before, and you're offered healings there. We do now, I offer a summer and winter solstice and a spring and fall equinox as often as I can and close to those dates as possible. So the upcoming spring equinox, which I love this one because the days start to get longer and we have more sunshine and yes, definitely ready for that. That we will be doing a combined Kundalini class ending with a sound bath. And so for those listening that want to know Lydia and might be in the area, that would be a great place to come as well. And certainly for those coming on the retreat, if you just want to get a sample of how beautiful this experience is going to be, that's going to be a really great place to check you out.
For sure. Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know when I decided to do Kundalini yoga training, it was far into me being a yogi, doing training. And I have to tease, I have so many hours of yoga training, and psychology training, but it's like, I keep going back to the yoga training because it just, it feeds you, it gives you so much. But I was kind of one-arming personally Kundalini, which is a different story for different reasons. It just felt really, honestly, I think it just felt so powerful. And I had to kind of get ready for it. And at one point, I was ready for it. And so when I took a class, after that class, I laid there and literally had the awareness I have not been rid of my own anxiety, my own whatever, my nervous system's relaxed in a different way. And I knew instantaneously that it was time to learn that and teach it, right?
I felt very similar with sound healing. Yes.
That's exactly where I'm going. I feel that. I could hear in the way that you shared how you found it, that you just know when you know, like in that sense.
Yeah, very much so. So that's funny because the story is so similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a part of me too that is a little apprehensive about the power that it could be, only because I just don't know everything, I don't understand everything, but I'm just open to be whatever it is it needs to be. And I don't need to know because that's not my job.
Yeah.
But the power there is sometimes a little intimidating, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say the signs of a true healer are to be able to say, I don't know, and to be able to say, I don't have your answers. You have your answers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
And you say those both very confidently and beautifully. So I am so looking forward to our time together in all of these different events. I'm grateful for your time today and excited for anybody that is going to be able to check out anything that you're doing and learn from you. I'm sure everybody's taking away something very beautiful today. And a question that we ask often here is, of course, heart wide open is so important to me, and living with a wide open heart. And what does that mean to you in your world?
In my world, well, I have been through a lot, just like everybody else. But honestly, for me, to live with your heart wide open is to live as a child again, despite the fact that you've been hurt, despite the fact that you have had pain, that you can open your heart like a child. And that's not easy, especially when we grow and we get older. We have to put our animals down. Life.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer. Really.
It's not always easy, as you know.
I do know.
But, I think we need to strive to that. So, and I know that some people can't, some people it's just too difficult.
Yeah.
And for them, I don't have judgment. I understand. And there's compassion.
You're a beautiful woman. Thank you for being here today.
You make me cry.
Do you feel complete? Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
Well, just want to thank you for having me back and enjoying my energy and what I do and to be a part of you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. We appreciate your time, energy, and attention. Whether you're watching or listening, please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Stay up to date with us at heartwideopenwellness.com so you don't miss any upcoming events, offerings, or retreats. Until next time, keep your heart wide open.